Okay, so today's shave is going to be super different. I normally don't record the videos I do on Saturdays, but today I'm going to show you the whole shebang, everything. I brew a little cup of tea and I've got it in this Yeti because if I drop my favorite mug in the shower, it'd be horrible. But this Yeti, this boy's been through a lot. It could survive. So let's try this. We got Twinings English breakfast, just keeping it simple. Let's try this. Hotter than shit, really good. All right, so today I recently got a question about shaving off hair. Like, you got a bunch of hair and you want to shave it all off. I'm gonna go through all the steps that it's gonna take, like what I would do if I had like shoulder length hair and I wanted to take it all off. The first step, which obviously I can't do, is just like pull it all up like this and hit it with like shears or something, like big ass scissors. The next step, clipper like this. If you're doing your whole head and you got a lot of hair, you want something with a really big blade on it, and you absolutely want to be using a guard on it. So even if you're just doing like a 2 or a 3 and you're taking it down, you want to have that guard on it. For the sake of the video, I'm gonna show you. I'm just gonna with this little guy and no guard because there's almost nothing up there because I keep it so short. All right, so this guy first. After you do the top knot and the scissors. There's that guy. And one more thing I should mention, if you're familiar with the grain of your hair, so mine on the sides, it's more down and back. If you're familiar with the grain, shave either across it or with the clippers. If you do no guard, even if you have a guard, you might as well. Going against it, even with clippers, it can hurt, especially if you haven't done it before. So we'll just keep going here, and I'm kind of going across the grain instead of straight against. And you'll kind of see I'm barely taking anything off. So even with no guard on the clippers, that's about as short as it gets. It'll obviously be very different, if you're coming down from all that hair, you'll have more, but yeah. So scissors, then down to clippers, and then onto the razor. Gonna toss this out so it doesn't end up in the drain. So for this next step, you absolutely need to be familiar with the grain of your hair. If you're coming down, this is the first time you've done it in a really long time, this is exactly what I do. I will start with a pre-shave oil. Honestly, you could use avocado oil, but anything that'll sit below the shaving cream and make a more cushioned lather, give you a little bit more glide. Today we're just gonna do one big dollop of that. And I always recommend a hot water rinse and then rub this in. And this will not only help distribute that hot water evenly, but also it'll help you get that slicker shave. Still hot as shit, still good as hell. There we go. All right. So now that that's on, good and rubbed in, I recommend a very cushioned shaving cream. I love this Perazzo Sensitive. This is actually what I use every single time I've got to take down a bunch of hair, just because not only is it super thick, super cushioning, but also it makes lather really well. You just add a little bit of water and it's perfect. So we'll get maybe about that size. You can absolutely use more. Doesn't necessarily hurt. You'll just have to rinse your razor more often. And what I'll do is I'll put it on and then immediately fill my soapy hand with water and add the water to it directly. So I've got the water, all wet. There we go. And I'll just add that on. And until it feels super slick, just keep adding that water to it. You want it to feel not gummy and not like it's gonna form clay on your head. You want that almost cream consistency up there. And I say the hotter water you can stand, the better. Just keep it safe, you know, test it on your wrist or test it on your hand before you go in and splash a bunch of it on your head, because that can hurt, and you don't want to be red as hell instead of just bald as hell, you know? So today I thought it'd be funny. You do not have to use this. I got this little mini Gillette handle, which is super fun. And I have a Gillette skin guard on there. So what I'll do is, this is the exact razor I would use if I was doing this myself. Taking down all that hair. So I will find the grain. You can do that by pushing against your hair. And whichever direction offers the most resistance, that's against the grain. So for me, it's like straight up on the sides. So I'll go with the grain on the first pass. So on the sides for me, that's straight down. And you want to rinse your razor often. Every time you make a couple of passes, you're collecting a whole bunch of hair. You want those blades in contact with your skin, not just pushing the hair around. So I'll do just a little bit. I'll go rinse this. All right, we'll get right back into it. On the top, the grain is straightforward. So just straightforward the whole way down. And this razor is very forgiving, so you can go over spots quite a few times without having any problems. Even ones where the shaving cream is kind of getting light. Just keep going at it here. And same thing on the back. One more little rinse and then we'll go for it. And as you go, you can add a little bit more water. Something I really like to do is shake a little bit of water off the razor onto my soap pan. Boom, just like that. And we'll just go with the grain on the back too. And for this pass, it's just kind of a basic, get the bulk of the hair out of the way. And the more you shave your head, the more you'll become familiar with your problem spots. Mine, especially on my neck, my hair grows in all these weird directions. It's wonderful. All right. So that is actually all I recommend for when you first do it. One with the grain pass will be more than enough. And then as you do that a couple of times, then you can move into, okay, I want to go across the grain, or okay, I want to go against the grain. So that is all I would do to start with. However, today I'm going to be going against the grain with mine. So we'll rinse this off and then we'll kind of do an all-in-one against the grain pass where I just fling the hair out of this. Just set the razor down. This one stands right up. Tea break. That's good. This is part of the Saturday routine, you know, the tea. I have like loose leaf and everything, but man, if those little bags of Twinnings don't always take, it's just, they hold a big part of my heart, you know? Get the caffeine going. All right. Now for against the grain. And even with these very forgiving Gillette razors, I do not recommend that you put much pressure going against the grain. Just a smooth, even, long stroke. And if you have sensitive skin or areas you're worried about cutting, you can take much shorter strokes because that really lessens your chances of getting cut. So you could do this number. If you're worried about a mole or something, go back, kind of go around it. But just those nice short strokes to avoid it. I do these long strokes because for me, I think it's a little bit better of a shave. I can get everything kind of all in one. Little problem area right here in the front. Boom, just like that. All right. And up on the sides, and there's a little blade on the back of these that I use right here, just for that more accurate line. Perfect. Do behind the ear. And actually the smell of that tangerine shave oil mixed with this Perazzo, that's very pleasant. Citrus, and then like that lemon verbena kind of very herbal scent from the Perazzo, which I love. That's my favorite one out of all of them. Not just because it's sensitive, but because it's also my favorite scent. All right, let's see. And I like to hop around as I do my head, you know, make sure the moisture is still in all of it, because then I'll realize right away if part of it is starting to dry out, and I can kind of, fling some water on it really quick and then hop right back into it. All right. And be careful around your ears. No matter what razor you're using, that's the area that is famous for getting nicked up. A little bit right here. All right, we'll add some more water, go on to the back. So what I will typically do is I'll run my hand under water, the clean one, and then I'll just flick it at this one so that I don't end up just washing the shaving cream off, because that absolutely can happen. So we'll feel for extra stuff. A little bit of hair right there. And it is a little bit more difficult to get perfect bald with the skin guard, but also it's much more difficult to cut the hell out of yourself. So move on to the back here, and that is straight up. And with this, I like to follow my hand with the razor. So I'll run my hand up, and right behind it, the razor. Because you can't see the back of your head without a mirror set up, so. Yeah, I like to just follow my hand. But you gotta remain very aware of where your hand is so you don't catch it with the razor. That's something that I really seem to like doing. You know, I'll be shaving the back of my head, and I'll catch a fingernail or something on the back blade there. That is no fun. All right, and then we just kind of do cleanup. I just kind of feel around my head and make sure there's no friction. And sometimes, you know, little spots will get away from you, but it's what the majority is that matters. But there. All right. That is a pretty good. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my head, so I could be touching up for hours and just keep doing it. I could do this for the rest of the day. So sometimes I just have to be like, okay, that's it. We're done. All right. Obviously, we're not quite done just yet on this one. That'll do for today. All right, let's rinse it off, and we'll take kind of a last look. All right, so that is all rinsed off, and that is a fine bald head. When you're doing it for the first time after a really long time, or the first time in general, and you rinse it off with hot water, you'll feel like little strips of it. It's really hard for me at first to like just control myself, just like, okay, just leave it. You know, when it calms down a little bit, those strips that bring up, then like they appear in hot water, those will go away, you know, as your skin kind of calms down. So what I'm saying is don't be a perfectionist and end up grinding your hair down. to the skin and then grinding some of your skin off, because that hurts in the long run. So that is all we'll do for today. One last celebratory sip of this very hot tea. I highly recommend having a shower tea. Maybe don't leave the bag in it the entire time, because this is getting bitter, but you know, it's still good. I highly recommend having a shower tea, you know? Later in the day, a shower beer, you just never know. That is solid. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. If there's anything you'd like to see, any parts of my collection that you want to see me try out or use, or if there's something that you're thinking about getting, I might have it. So just shoot me a comment, let me know. See you guys next time.